Hey y'all, what's up? Y'all good? I hope so. I hope y'all doing well. Listen, have y'all watched the new true crime limited series Under the Bridge on Hulu? I just started and look, I'm all in. I like true crime. Some I can watch, others can be a little too much. But so far, I've been hanging in with this one. If you have watched, please try not to leave any spoilers for any future episodes in the comment section. And if you haven't watched the first two episodes and you don't like spoilers, I would say exit out and then come back after you've watched, okay? So Under the Bridge is a true story about a 14-year-old girl in Canada who was unalived by a group of girls who she thought were her friends. The episode description reads, in 1997, on a quiet island in British Columbia, 14-year-old Reena Virk attends a party and never returns home. Her disappearance intrigues a novelist returning to her hometown who finds herself drawn into the hidden world of the teen suspects. And the episodes drop every Wednesday. They drop the first two this Wednesday. And the title for episode 1 is Looking Glass. So, it starts out with a disclaimer based on actual events. Certain elements have been fictionalized or invented for dramatic purposes. So the episode opens up with the lady narrating the opening scene saying, on its face, this story is the opposite of a fairy tale. But that's only until you consider what fairy tales are really about. Girls punished for selfishness or for no reason at all. There are tales of horror and wonder, of innocence and beauty, of violence and sin. In fairy tales, there's danger everywhere. Beware of the troll under the bridge. Then you see Rebecca entering some type of youth detention center, or it could be a jail. And she said in November of 1997, the danger didn't look nothing like it was looking then, like all those girls up in there. She said that they were supposed to protect the young girls in Victoria, not be protected from them. Then it flashes back to November 17, 1997, and this girl named Reena, she waiting outside the school. Her uncle picked her up. He surprised her with this Notorious B.I.G. Life After DATH CD. She excited, pops it in, started playing Going Back to Cali. I'm going. She playing that. They leave the school, and Reena asks her uncle if they can drive through View Royal. As they're driving, she spots this boy named Connor Fields. Her uncle was like, oh, so that's who you was looking for? And she said, no, Josephine likes him. But you can tell that Reena likes him. But after she mentioned Josephine, you could see her uncle get this worried look on his face. So he says, I thought you was through hanging with those 7 Oak girls. But she says she's still cool with this girl named Dusty. But the uncle still doesn't think it's a good thing for her to be fooling around with those girls. And he tells her, you know what, maybe you should just start focusing on your family a little bit. Now, he didn't say this in a mean way or anything. And he also noticed that she wrote CMC on her hand, which made him extra worried. Reena gets upset, she tells him to let her out. And she almost jumped out the car before he came to a complete stop. So Reena walks over to see Dusty, and Dusty is standing outside the youth home. She asked her where was Joe. Dusty said, the prince is up in her room. So they head up to see Joe. So Joe and another girl named Kelly, they in the room. And I could tell right off back that I'm not going to like Joe. So Joe is telling this story about a girl who was pissing her off at a party because the girl was talking about a locket that her parents got for her from Tiffany's and how appreciative she was. And it's clear that Joe was jealous. So she says she walked up to the girl and snatched the locket. Then the other girl says no one else would CMC. And I'm like, oh, so this supposed to be like a little gang or something. So Reena says that she has the new Biggie CD. And immediately, y'all, Joe gets irritated because the other girls are like, really? Where is it? Let me see it. So from what I can see, Joe doesn't like when other girls get more attention than her. And she doesn't like it when people have more than her. Even a $12 CD. So Joe tells Reena to give her the CD, and Reena is excited. Reena, she really wants to be accepted and liked by Joe. It seems like they used to be friends, but something may have happened. Joe puts it in. All the girls start rapping to the song. They dancing. They having a good time. So much so that Reena stands on Joe's bed. Joe look around and yells, "Reena, get the F off my bed before you break it." And Kelly calls Reena a fat B. Dusty, she looking shocked because she couldn't believe that Kelly said that. So Joe stops the music and asks Reena, why you here anyway? You moved out. But Reena says Kelly here, she don't live here either. Josephine said, yeah, but Kelly is my best friend. And you could tell that hurt Reena's feelings, right? So Josephine says, let's head over to Connor's and we can get some chronic. Everybody grabs their stuff, but Josephine tells Reena, you're not invited. Dusty, she wanted to stay. You could tell, you could see it in her face. But you know how it is when you young and you don't want to be the outcast. So Dusty left with the other girls and Reena was just standing there. But then she sees Josephine's journal and she took it. So now we get to another scene where we see this lady on a plane about to land in Victoria, and her name is Rebecca. This is the lady that we see in the opening scene. And she's coming back home to write a story. And she arrives at her parents' house where she hasn't been in 10 years, right? And you can tell that there's a lot of tension between her and her parents because they cannot get comfortable around each other. Hopefully, we'll find out what that is about soon. Then we get back to Reena, who's being spiteful, if you ask me. And she's sitting in the bathroom, calling everybody in Josephine's journal and telling them all types of things. Then she gets to the page with Connor's number and she tells him that Josephine has AIDS and then asks him, do you want to go out with me? And I'm like, Reena, like, why would you say that? Like, are you really that mad because Josephine don't fool with you like that you'll be spreading these type of rumors? Like, girl, are you crazy? So now we're at Connor's and the girls, they done pulled up. The guys, they in there getting blazed. So Joe says, let me hit that. Connor said, nope. I heard you got AIDS, that your girlies are fake and you draw your eyebrows on. Joe wants to know, like, man, where you hear some mess like that from? And he was like, I don't know. Some girl called me some girl named Tina or something. So Joe says, Reena? And he was like, yeah, that's it, Reena. Josephine is seething. So Reena, you know, she was at home in the bathroom making all those calls. She finally come down for family dinner, and the adults at the table, they seem to be very happy that Reena joined them. I don't know if they've had a lot of issues with Reena or what, but they happy that she there. Her mom tries to fix her plate, but Reena, she don't want it. She said, I don't want that, it's gonna make me fat. Then the phone rings and they was like, just let the voicemail pick it up, let's enjoy dinner as a family. Reena runs to answer the phone anyway, and I think she thought it was Connor, but it was actually Josephine. Invite her to come and hang out with them, but she was like, I thought you said I couldn't hang out with y'all. And she was like, girl, just come on. So Reena leaves. She tells her folks that she'll be back at 11. They try to stop her, kinda, but they give up. The mom said, look, if she want to go, let her go. So Reena, she on her way to meet up with the girls. She happy. She really thought that they wanted her there. She looked at Dusty and she could tell something was off because Dusty wouldn't look at her. Then you hear this girl say, where's Josephine at? Where this chick that I'm supposed to be beating up? That's when Reena knew that this wasn't what she thought it was. Reena takes off running, makes it to a payphone, calls home, but by this time the girls then caught up with her and said, let's take her to the bridge. So now we see this woman at boxing practice with her dad and brother. Her name is Cam, and we find out later that she's a cop. She heads back to the station, and Reena's uncle, and I think that was his dad, they were at the police station trying to get somebody to help them because Reena has been missing for 3 days. But they kind of brushed them off. But Cam, who is an indigenous woman, takes offense to how her brother, who I think is white, kind of gave the family the cold shoulder because the uncle made a point to say, now I thought you would have understood more than him. So as the brother, he done walked off, he really don't care. Cam gets up and chases after them to ask them more questions because she wants to help. Next, we see Rebecca. She's heading over to the youth home because, she want to talk to some of the girls so she can get some stories for the book that she's writing. But the guardian says that, I can't let strangers do that. Josephine and Dusty, they walk up to ask the lady if she had a newspaper because they want to see if there was anything in there about Reena since she was missing. Rebecca, she's about to leave because, the guardian said that she can't stay there and talk to them. But the guardian had got distracted. So Rebecca gave Josephine her card and said, call me if y'all want to talk. And when Josephine saw that Reena was from New York, that broke the wall down that Josephine had up. Because for some reason, Josephine wanted to be a mob wife child. So Rebecca tells the girls a little about herself, where she used to hang out at, because she used to live there, and asks them what did they do for fun. And Joe said, well, we usually hang out at Connor Field's house. Then Rebecca asks Joe and Dusty, like, what happened to your friend? You said your friend Reena, she was missing. And they was like, oh, nothing. Anytime we miss curfew, they call the cops. But the cops don't care about the big girls, B-I-C. And Rebecca was like, what are big girls? Josephine, she let her know that the police call them big girls like the lighter because they are disposable. So now we're back to Reena's house, and her mom has barged into her room. She started snatching clothes out of the closet because she thinks that Reena has just run away, that she's just being a rebellious teen. The dad, however, he doesn't think that. He don't think that throwing her things away is right because he feels like something is not right. Then the phone rings and it's Dusty asking if Reena was there. The mom is like, who is this? How do you know Reena? Do you know where she is? And Dusty hangs up. So now we get back to Cam going over to Connor's house to ask some questions about Reena. Connor tells her that he heard that the CMC said that they won't be hearing from Reena again. So she takes the info to her dad, who is the chief. The dad and the brother think she crazy to be trying to look for girls in Victoria because they run away all the time anyway. However, the dad, he does give her permission to call out a dive team, but he let her know this your case, you put your name on it. They really don't want nothing to do with it, especially if she ends up being wrong. But while they out there searching the lake, you can see Dusty looking out the school window looking worried. And then a bunch of other kids come up to the window, and so does Josephine and Kelly. And they lock pinky fingers like a promise type thing. The dive team, they found underwear in the gorge. Officer Cam, she takes the evidence to Reena's parents so that they cannot, identify it. The mom says, yes, I think those are hers. Cam apologizes that that's all they have to go on right now, and she leaves. Now the dad, he is hopeful. He is hopeful that they will find Reena. But the mom says she thinks Reena is gone like DEAD. Now the police go to the school and gather up all the kids on the CMC list. Baby, there are parents at the police station going crazy. They want to know what's going on. And you already know that you're going to have them parents who think their babies are perfect angels and wouldn't do nothing like that. Baby, they about to stress that front desk officer out. Josephine, she don't have nobody to show up for her. So the officer asked her, is there anybody else that you can call? And she remembered that she had Rebecca's card. So she called Rebecca. So when Rebecca gets there, she says that she's there to pick up Josephine Bell. The front desk officer tells her to go talk to the officer who brought her in, which is Officer Cam. But Rebecca doesn't know that, and when she sees Cam, she freezes up. So there must be some kind of history between Cam and Rebecca. So Rebecca goes back and lies and says, Cam told me that I can go ahead and go to the back. So he asked another officer to take Rebecca back there where Josephine was. And this is actually the scene as she's walking to the back. This is actually the scene that we saw at the beginning of the episode. So Cam and some of the other officers are watching some surveillance footage. And then they see Reena come from under the bridge after all the other kids have ran away. Then it takes us to the actual scene, and we see Reena. She all beaten up. She's stumbling down the street. And that's the end of the first episode, y'all. With these descriptions, these episode descriptions, it sounds like this is going to be pretty good. And it's based off a true story. So if y'all have watched it, please get down in the comments. Let me know what you think about it. Please like, share, subscribe. And I'll talk to y'all later.